What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake NBA Wise Stream. CK013 here, joined once again by the GOAT, the true OG Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And we decided, normally we don't do the Saturday Wise streams for free. We normally only do it for our WiseTake Nation subscribers. But we decided since you were on the schedule and it's holiday weekend, we decided to spontaneously do one on the YouTube on a Saturday. Paulie, what's happening, bro?
What up? What up? Doing the dirty. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays indeed to those of you out there. Pretty interesting slate on a Saturday. Real quick, those of you who are new to the channel, this is your first time seeing us. I don't know where you've been, but subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications bell. Monday through Friday, we normally do live streams leading up into Lock for NBA. So hit the notifications bell so you're notified whenever we do go live. We also do a Core 4 article First Look Core 4 video that we release Monday through Friday as well. But here we are at Saturday. We had a nice little NFL slate to sweat. The contests in NBA were a little light. I didn't realize how much they were putting into the NFL, but I understand it. They have to go where the money is, but still a decent slate. Only problem with this slate is we're pretty much all dependent on injury news. So there's just a ton of news we're just waiting for, and it's hard to really make a definitive anything without knowing a lot of this news. Paulie, what's your overall perspective on this?
Yeah, a lot of what you said. News is going to dictate ownership. Star-studded slate similar to 2 nights ago. Harden, Giannis, Embiid, Russ, Lillard. Right now, not a ton of value, but there's like hints of what may become value. 7 games. I like the size. It's a shame there's not better contests because I'd be a little more into it. But there's so many potential injuries stuff. It's like that kind of gets a little annoying.
Yeah, I agree. We got some of it now. Some of the stuff we have some stuff to work with, but I do agree. It's annoying when you have so much, and a lot of it is like late. So on FanDuel, especially, you're kind of stuck. You're in a weird predicament. You either have to just kind of go with more of the chalkier, optimal builds in the early games because you know the news, or take a chance and guess what you think the outcome's going to look like in those later games. Guess what the news is going to look like because. Again, it's kind of big. There's not a ton separating a lot of the other ones besides the optimal ones, and the injury news is really what's going to separate a lot of these. So, definitely one of those slates where we hope we get something. With that said, Paulie, before we ask about point guards, we're going to ask everybody to go ahead and smash that like button. Those of you watching this live, hanging out with us on a Saturday, got the Christmas shopping out the way, or maybe you're doing it tomorrow, maybe you're doing it later. But appreciate y'all rocking with us. Smash the like button. The likes help us out, go a long way, allow us to continue to do the free content. We like to do the free content. We like to talk to y'all. With that said, Paulie, point guards, 6K and above, what are you looking at?
Russ. I like Russ. Not that expensive. He's really been playing well. Phoenix doesn't really offer much resistance. A little bit of blowout concerns, but Houston's known for playing their stars pretty deep. And he's finally going to the rim. He's not shooting as many threes anymore. He's getting to the foul line and doing all the other peripherals. Like, I'm very impressed what I saw out of Russ. And, some of his stats over the last, 5-6 games show that he's, changed his game up. And he's not going to just shoot threes. So he's back in playing my life at this price. And then I really like Ben Simmons against Washington. High total, fast pace, Philly getting paced way up. And he's going to get like Isaiah Thomas, D, or, Dirk Davis. I don't know who's going to guard him, but they're not going to do a good job. 8,200. I could see a trip dub coming our way for Benny Simmons today.
Real quick, we did just get some pretty important injury news. Derrick Rose has just been ruled out today. So that'll require some updates. I'll update the projections as we continue. I'll lean on you to take us through some of these positions while I go through and update some of this stuff, update the content over at WiseTake.com.
Right.
Real quick, that reminds me, those of you who are new to the channel, we do have a full premium DFS content site over at WiseTake.com for our WiseTake Nation subscribers. Our projections are over there. I'm updating them as we speak. Those of you who are using them to upload them into the optimizer of your choice. I'll be adjusting as we do the show, as well as the core plays article. for those of you that are subscribed to WiseTake.com. With that said, I'm with you on some of these spend ups. I like Dame a lot. We know Carmelo Anthony's been ruled out. Dame is probably my favorite at the moment. Russell Westbrook a close second because of the ceiling, because of the upside. Dame's played really well these last couple of games. We know Carmelo is not going to be there to take those shots. They're already thin as is. And you had mentioned to me, I don't know the full status for sure, but Gary Trent had even gotten hurt, so they're even losing guards at this point. So as of right now, as far as spend ups go, I'd rank it Dame, Westbrook, then Simmons. Paulie, take us down. Oh, well, that was just the studs, really, I guess, right? Are there any mid-tier guys you like now that Rose is out? And I know Rose was a guy we were interested in for at least a little.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox, I do like. Going against Memphis, terrible D against point guards. He didn't play a ton of minutes yesterday. DeJounte Murray, against the Rockets, going to be out there a ton to guard, one of Westbrook or Harden. And, the minutes limit's gone. Price probably hasn't caught up. And then Louis Williams, 6,700, going to be super low owned. And I just have a hunch a blow-up game is coming from Sweet Lou. You should be just getting some exposure to him. Don't have to be much. But, when Sweet Lou goes for 50 on this slate at 1%, that could win the whole thing. So get at least like 3 to 5% because it's coming.
I'm with it.
Value land?
Yeah, go ahead.
Value
Go ahead and
land?
take us into Value Land while I continue to do the dirty here with myself.
All right. Yeah, so, Elf I like, regardless. There's no news on that. Shabazz Napier started yesterday. I assume he's going to again. I don't think Cat not playing really had any impact on that. So I like him as well at very cheap. Kobe White has not played good, but he's so cheap with MME. You got to buy in because he does have 35, 40 point upside. That'd be like 12x now where he's at. We'll see if Giannis were to get ruled out, then the Milwaukee supporting cast would get very interesting. That is probably where I'm gonna live right now.
Well, I mean, with the news we just got about Rose, you gotta like Bruce Brown, right? 4,900.
Yeah, Bruce
probably gonna
Brown,
play like a million minutes today. They have literally no point guards. I think Langston Galloway is gonna end up playing backup point guard today, right? Like him and Svi maybe, but either way, with Blake out, they are still thin. Drummond's usage gonna go up. We know that, but ultimately, somebody's got to play point guard, and I think it's when we saw in the past when Rose was out and Reggie was out, Bruce would get like 38, 39 minutes in these situations. So that's a huge upgrade, I would think, for Bruce Brownington. Take us over to the shooting guide.
Yeah, I don't love the high end here. I think where you play James Harden, it wouldn't be crazy to pair with Devin Booker. The better game Harden has, more than likely, it's if a game's tight. They could smoke him and Harden get there too. Just, guys are insanely good. But not that into the high end here. And then Brad Beal has a tough opponent, good, slow defensive team. Yes, touchdown Bills. Let's go. I don't know if I'm really into Brad Beal. Those prices enticing, but I like to spend ups at point guard like Ross, Dame, Ben Simmons a little bit more than the shooting guard ones. Mid tier, CJ McCollum. One of those two is going to do really well with the additional usage with Melo not being there. Dylan Brooks has been balling out of control lately. You got to just kind of play him against Sacramento and Buddy Hield D. And RJ Barrett, cheap, gets good minutes. Going to get minutes, I think, regardless if Milwaukee blows him out or not. So, I like him at a cheap price on this slate as well.
I'm with it. Not too much to add there. Obviously, we're waiting on Rubio news as well. Blowout is a concern there. Not as much with the Rockets side. They play their guys deep. But on the Phoenix side, especially if Rubio's out, there's some concern. We know Aiden's already out. But Booker, if the game were to stay close, you would think him and Oubre would have to have pretty big games. Andrew Wiggins, of course, we're waiting on the news. Without the news, if we get the Wiggins news, I like that against Portland. I think I like Covington more from that side if that happens. But all news aside, I think, like you said, Lou Williams, DeMar DeRozan, and CJ McCollum are probably my favorites above here. McCollum, his price has come up, but he is getting a little bit of a boost here with such and such Carmelo Anthony out. Paulie, take us under.
No, I mean we kind of like Luke Kennard anyway, but with the usage that Derrick Rose had, he becomes really appealing at 5,100. Zvi Mihailovic, probably an interesting value play. What's his name too? The other guy, Langston Galloway. I guess you could take shots on. He busted yesterday. Patty Mills is like an interesting value play. There's not a ton at shooting guard, at the current, but if like Cat gets ruled out, maybe we boost up like an Okigi. If Giannis gets ruled out and Wes Matthews we're waiting on, that could open up like a Kyle Korver or a Sterling Brown or a Pat Connaughton. But as of yet, I think like the Detroit stuff's more interesting and for value right now.
Yeah, I agree. Right, they're looking pretty optimal at this point. A lot of those guys. Let's go ahead and go over to small forward. I don't have too much there to add. Kennard is a huge play for me today. Go over to small forward. What do you got?
I like Kawhi at 8,500. If Cat's out, I'm cool with a little bit of Wiggins. I'm into Kelly Oubre quite a bit. I like DeMar DeRozan quite a bit. If Cat's out, I will like Covington quite a bit. And then for value, I'm dying for Rudy Gay to get ruled out so I can go heavy on Lonnie Walker Jr. or Lonnie Walker IV. Who else? Dante DiVincenzo. If Giannis gets ruled out, even at 5'4", the kid's really kind of earned that price tag. The Newell House is probably going to be the chalk value at 38. I'm all right with him, but not overwhelmingly into that. Denzel Valentine for the Bulls, I like a lot. 3,800, too cheap. Detroit gets killed by forwards, and this game should kind of play sloppy and fast now. I'd say Oubre, if we get Lonnie Walker, I'd fall in love with that. And then probably like DeRozan and Valentine are my favorites at this position.
Yeah, I mentioned some of the guys are shooting guard like DeRozan. We talked about Kelly Oubre. Again, if Rubio's out, on the one hand, if Rubio's in, the game stays closer. I'll like Oubre like for lower exposure, just a guy to get in because the position's not great. But if he's out, even though I think that increases their chance of the blowout, I'm going to play Oubre a lot. This is the type of game he should excel in, get some extra rebounds, fast paced, dirties. So I like that call. I like that range. But again, waiting for that news to kind of open up. Keep an eye out for the Rudy Gay call. That would open up a lot for Walker, who we've seen ball tons of times. So be on the lookout for Rudy Gay. Well, hopefully we get that news before the show ends. Let's go over to MG wants to know why we don't like Connaughton with Wesley Matthews doubtful. MG's an OG member, so I'll ask.
I mean, because Kyle Korver's in that mix now, right? So you don't know who's going to get the minutes. I think they play Sterling Brown ahead of, Ahead of Connaughton, and DiVincenzo is going to get a bunch. So there's bodies there right now on top of Giannis being there. I don't really love Milwaukee value when Giannis is, there. But if Giannis gets ruled out, I'm cool with it. Connaughton 3-1, but right now I couldn't go more than like 10% on Pat Connaughton unless Giannis gets ruled out.
There you go, MG. I know MG likes him. Do you think, MG?
Yeah. I'll play him just because MG likes him.
There you go.
Not much.
That's some respect right there. Put some respect on MG's name right there. I like that. All right. Let's keep things rolling over at power forward, Paulie.
Yep. It's kind of a mid-tier position. I like LMA. I like Julius Randle, Davis Bertans. Jaren Jackson a little. If Joval were to get ruled out, a lot. Like both Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr. Probably Markkanen a tad more, but I like them both against Detroit. Montrezl Harrell's a good option. San Antonio gives up a lot of points in the paint. That's where Harrell does most of his work. Markieff Morris is now kind of rising up the charts a little bit with Derrick Rose usage going around. I'm playing Marvin Bagley every day. He almost got there. Yeah, he did. He was like almost 6x, but I think the 8x game is coming soon. And then in value land, we'll see. If Giannis is out, Ilyasova. I think Vonleh is a good value play right now at 3,100. I think Thaddeus Young has been playing really well for the Bulls. I wouldn't mind giving him a look. And Skal Labas is like my favorite value play at min price with Melo out.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what the starting lineup will look like. Probably won't get that until game time. So if you're playing on DraftKings, be ready to swap between Nasir Little, Hazonia, Skal. There's definitely some guys got to pick up some minutes for Melo being out because they're already thin beyond that with Rodney Hood out, and of course Collins and the guys that already were. Markieff Morris definitely on FanDuel. Markieff Morris is like 4-something, just really, really cheap. Detroit, once again, I know that they burned me yesterday as like the optimal play, but I'm going right back there. I'm gonna be playing a lot of Detroit today. There's just too many minutes with Rose out. Like the prices aren't high enough for, and on top of that, they're playing Chicago, a team that has a difficult time blowing teams out because they don't play defense. So yeah, I'll be heavy on Detroit again today. That's exciting. Let's go over to centers, Paulie.
Yep. So I love Drummond. Centers against the Bull, and he's getting all of Rose's and Blake Griffin's usage. Hassan Whiteside with Melo out, more rebound upside. Cat may be gone. They don't have nothing. He could have a 20 rebound game, maybe big blocks. Maybe it all comes together. Joe Val, if he plays, he's been playing awesome. Sacramento doesn't guard center as well. Gorgie Dang, if Cat's out. Aaron Baines, 4,600. Centers against Houston been really good, and he's probably going to start. Played 28 minutes yesterday. Don't love the back-to-back factor, but worth a little bit. And that's it. Everyone else we talked about at forward.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's really like, so Drummond is the top dog, right? I'll have a ton of him. FanDuel, he's like 9.6. I know you don't get the thing, but you get the blocks over on FanDuel. So
got 6 steals yesterday.
Yeah, that was wild.
Drummond had 6 steals on FanDuel. That was
it was
18
huge.
points just on steals.
Yeah, and he's playing a team that gets blocked a ton, the Chicago Bulls. With that said, after him, I think Whiteside very much gets a boost with Melo off the court. Maybe he's asked to shoot a little bit more. Maybe he grabs a couple more of those rebounds because now without him, they're just really small in general. So I'm good with that. And then as far as like the main centers, like Clint Capella, I'm good with. He's 8K though, so it's not like an automatic situation. I'm good with him, but it's not automatic. The big news we're waiting for, obviously, is Cat. This is a great spot for Cat, but even if he were to play, he's got a sprained knee, and he's very expensive. So there's a lot of variables here. He was limited at shoot-around yesterday. So I don't think he's going to play. I think he really is. I think he sprained his knee for real, and he's going to be out for at least a couple games. So with that said, if he's out, that's pretty important for me because of Gorgie Dieng. I would want exposure to as well as, Covington. He'd be pretty big. I know it's a power forward deal, but I'd really want Covington in this spot. And then, of course, the guard situation, mentioned Napier. We got to see the situation with that. Jeff Teague would be a little more interesting as well. And then, of course, the Suns. Rubio is doubtful, so we're expecting him not to play. Curious to see what that starting lineup looks like. Does Devin Booker go to point guard and Mikal Bridges starts? Or do they start, Elie Okobo or one of those guys? And then, of course, Kaminsky and Sarge are both questionable. They're already without Ayton. You're leaving kind of Baines hanging there. Check Diallo floating around. So there is a lot of stuff we're waiting for. That's why the breakdown is kind of brief at this point because we like what we like. If the slate were to start now, I think you and I are pretty concentrated on what we like. But if something were to change, when these things come out, that would maybe lower us on certains. Maybe either lower our pool and highly concentrate the people that we're on, or maybe it would raise our pool and force us to lower the concentrated ownership that we're on because we'd have to make room for them. So curious to see how things fall, man. As far as now, do you see, is there anything that are you feeling better about Detroit today? Yesterday we were obviously, or I was pretty big on Detroit yesterday and they didn't quite get it done. They got blown out.
I do because it's the Bulls. Right. They should play close, but it still might be outpaced by a couple games in the later slots. So I'm not, I don't know. I'll be on it for sure, but probably not my highest exposed game. Probably second or third. Yeah,
and and I should have clarified because I said game. I'm gonna have a lot more the Detroit side than the Bulls side. Because I'm not playing the Pistons because I think this is some great game. I'm playing the Pistons because the usage and the minutes. and the prices in comparison to those usage in minutes. That's why
Yeah.
even if Rose played, he was still kind of, even though he was still kind of a question mark for me, because similar to yesterday, you know what I'm saying? Like, but in this situation, right, Bruce Brown should probably play like 38 minutes because they don't have another point guard. And then Drummond, they're going to ask him to play 36, I would think. Didn't have to play a ton last night anyway, even with Blake out. Markieff Morris, no Christian Wood, I'm pretty sure. Right? He's not back. He's supposed to miss
No Christian Wood. He's out. He's definitely out.
So those four guys are just going to play. As long as this game's competitive, and it is against the Bulls, so it should be. I just don't see how they don't play a million minutes today and have all the usage to go around. Like Kennard, those guys, Kennard, Brown, Markieff Morris, and Drummond. I just don't see how. And they're not even expensive. Like Kennard's price dropped to 5-1. Why? Because he got hurt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just...
What's is there any new news on that? Or the Bulls guys are a little questionable too, right? Like Wendell Carter and Levine.
Yeah, but the Bulls have been making everybody questionable every day. For some reason. I don't know why. And honestly, the Suns have been doing the same thing with Kaminsky and Saric. They've been doing the same thing. Every game, those guys are questionable. Every time. Let's see if there's any questions, and then we'll flip it to the injury feed. 7070707. I'm going to check the WiseStream chat first, though.
I got a question for you anyway.
What's up?
Rank your top 4 Pistons and what order of interest?
All right, Bruce Brown's number 1 at this point. Well, yeah. Okay, we'll say Bruce Brown. I'm trying to consider price as well. Brown, Kennard. Well, it's hard to rank. I like them all 4. Markieff is probably my least favorite just because he's so volatile in general, but I still like him a lot. Let me clarify. Kennard, I think I like the most Drummond obviously has the ceiling, right? Like Drummond's the guy that we wanted to play anyway because it's against the Bulls.
Right. Bigs against Bulls is like your favorite spot in DFS.
Bruce Brown, I just think is going to have to play a million minutes, so I like him because of that. And then Kennard is like, he's going to take a ton of shots. He's the best shooter they have on the team, and he was already the best actual probable shooter. But now you factor in the fact that there's nobody else around him to take away and to stop him from taking those shots on any unit. I like all 4 of them. I think Markieff, I'd probably have say I was going to play them all at 50. I'd play all 3 of those other ones at 50 and Markieff at 40, hypothetically.
Yeah. Because I'm with you. That game, it's the Bulls. There's no resistance.
I'm curious if people are afraid to go back to Detroit because obviously they were, relatively high on. They weren't massive chuckers. We had 5 or 6 spots that were like that yesterday, but they were pretty popular.
Yeah. Drummond was.
Yeah, Drummond was. Rose was 30-something%.
I think, and Galloway might have been around there.
Yeah, Galloway was 35-40%. Curious. His price went up. Nobody's probably playing him. He's going to get some point guard time today.
Yeah, he has to.
Yeah. Let's see. Quick question. Without Rose, play Brown at 4,900. I will be linking. Detroit value chalk night. Yesterday was value chalk night too. Like Kennard as well. Yeah, I think Kennard is probable for anybody that's wondering about Kennard's status. He's probable. At this point, I'm going to switch over to the injury feed from our Slack as soon as I get it pulled up. Oop, just got to make a quick switchy here. This is one of our channels in our Slack chat, which is available for WiseTake monthly members or higher. We have injury feeds popping up in here. It's just one of the many channels we have. Over at the WiseTake Nation, you can see Derrick Rose will not play. Is the last significant piece of news we got for this slate, and we got a lot of time.
Give us more.
We got a lot of time, so this show is gonna get kind of awkward if we're gonna start getting some of this news, man.
So, right now, what's your favorite value play on the slate?
Right now, with the information that we have at this moment, what anything under 5K is that value?
Yeah, sure. Bruce Brown, okay. Yeah. Where are you on Shabazz Napier and Scalabas that are both pretty close to min?
I'm definitely playing them both. Right now I'm looking at around maybe 15% Scal. He's min price. Mm-hmm. I just have to decide if I need it. because the studs is kind of the issue, right? Like I like Dame, I like some of those other guys, but if the mid-tier value ends up being stronger, more reliable, like I think I was looking at, even with this Detroit stuff, I wasn't even looking at Bruce Brown, to be honest, until Rose got ruled out. So that's already going to knock out some of the other value plays that I think I need.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, the guys that I'm looking at are kind of forcing me on that mid-tier deal. So I just don't know if I need to take a risk, because I think Skiles is a good play, and I'm going to have some, and I think it's worth it. But maybe, I guess if I was higher on Harden, if I was like at 50% Harden today, which I like Harden, which is probably why I'm going to have around 15% or so of Skiles, so I could fit some of him in. What about you? What are your thoughts? Like it looks like a balanced build is kind of calling, and we're going to get news that could change. But as of right now, that's kind of what's calling, and that's been the most successful build most nights. But I'm always tempted to try a sneak into stars and scrubs build when this happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look to do both because I think some of the scrub plays could be like too much X, like 8X plus, and then you just the raw points of those studs like Harden, and you kind of can like group the studs right from like one game, and if the game goes off to the wire, they all usually do well. So like you could do like Kawhi with LMA and DeRozan, and hope that game like finds overtime with some of that min price value and whatever you like from Detroit. I think that's kind of like your choice, whether you go all the way up, all the way down after the Detroit value, or if you do like a couple balance players from the mid tier. But I think you should kind of have both.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Because like you can get two of them, like those two, and maybe others open up. Like Noah Vonleh went for 23 yesterday. That's 8X. Like it's against Minnesota with no size. I don't know. There's some down there that are like really interesting, and we have a lot of studs. So, you could get a lineup with like Giannis, Harden, and another stud with a couple 3K guys.
Right.
I had like a minor catastrophe. I ran out of cigarettes, so I went on a recon mission so that I could focus better for the nation. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do out here.
The recon is on. Recon is
on. How would you rank like your top 3 studs?
So Drummond number 1 at this point. I think Drummond, Dame, Westbrook is where I'm leaning. Giannis obviously is worth considering. We'll see if he plays. I think his ownership may be low because PP's questionable all day, and he's a 12-point favorite over the Knicks. It's just hard because they're so conservative. That would be huge if Giannis got ruled out. That would be something that like we'd have to crazy react to, like, Middleton and all these other guys.
Yeah, Middleton.
But in the meantime, I think that obviously Drummond is number 1. Harden is like right outside that top 3 for me. He's like right outside because him and Westbrook are somewhat interchangeable. It's just, Harden 70, 80. It's just a matter of how much do you like the Scals, I guess, right? Like, because even if you like Westbrook more, if you comfortably had an opportunity to take Harden over Westbrook, you probably would, right? Like.
Yeah. If you could get there comfortably. I mean, I like them both.
Sure.
Of
course.
Why are we like ignoring the Philly Washington game? Like Washington's been like the nuts.
I know.
It's the highest total.
That's a good point. I don't even mean to ignore. Take a look at them board.
All right.
And hard.
Who has games tomorrow again? It was like 2 main big teams.
Let's take a look at the NBA schedules article written by our boy Jay Irv. WiseTake Nation subscribers get access to this on the regular. I don't think he could. Yesterday was like, once in a while he can't do it, but pretty much every day he does it. Let's see. So both Philly and Washington are both on back ends of back-to-backs. It's a 3-4 for Philly, a 4-6 for Washington. The Bulls are working with 2 days rest. It's a back-to-back and a 3-4 for Detroit. It looks like Milwaukee's the team that plays tomorrow. 1 day rest, but front end of a back-to-back.
Oh, and the Clippers do.
Yes, and the Clippers do against San Antonio. So That's the thing. Like it's not just Karl Anthony Towns we're waiting for. It's not just the Phoenix Suns. Like we have potentially the Clippers choosing to rest someone in a back-to-back. We've got potentially the Bucks. Like again, sitting Giannis. That's a real. It's a speculation, but it's a real possibility because they're playing tomorrow.
Right, and they play the Knicks today and the Pacers tomorrow.
Right. On the other hand, it's the Garden.
Which game do you want him for?
Right. On the other hand, it's the Garden, and I would think he has a say. Like maybe he wants to play in the Garden. He's the one stud. Can I say this on an unrelated note? Like he's the one stud that I can see actually going to New York.
I'd love that, but I'd rather have Harden.
Oh, I'd rather have Harden too. I don't know. I just don't see Harden going like. I would love it. I would prefer it, but I can see Giannis being sold on New York. The idea of New York being the guy in New York. He's from overseas. You know what I mean? Like New York is like the melting pot. Yeah. It's like the mecca for that. It's like
That does make sense.
I could see it. Like you want to make the Knicks great again, man. I'd love to have Harden. I just don't see Harden coming here. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
I'd love that one.
I would love that though, because AD to the Nets with Kyrie and LeVert, like, oh my God, they're gonna be so good.
Now we got a question here. CK and Paulie, do y'all like the revenge narrative with Kawhi tonight?
A little, but like that's one of my top 3 games. Like on the road in San Antonio, narrative, pop, like they all want to win. San Antonio started the season off horrible, but they're starting to look better. DeJounte Murray back in the starting lineup. Like, what do you call it? LaMarcus has had a couple good games. DeRozan's been playing well, but not great for fantasy. But I think that game could stay close. I mean, I think the Clippers are awesome, but I do think that they don't really value the regular season that much. And there's a chance that they could rest somebody. There's a chance that they just don't put a ton of effort. They play like their second unit a little more. Like, who knows? So I think that game could stay close and be good. Just a couple of the games I like a tad more.
That makes sense.
What's your favorite game? Is it the Bulls Detroit?
Not favorite game. Detroit's my favorite team.
Yeah, like game stack. Favorite game
Probably stack. As of now, I got my eye on the Portland game. That's the game I got my eye on.
Okay, so let's talk about that one. All right. So how would you stack that? And that's assuming Cat's out?
Yes. If Cat's in, I still like the Portland side because they're still missing Melo. And it's a pace-up spot against a bad defensive team. Like, I'd still like Portland. It's just I would like the Minnesota side a lot more also. Like, Covington would be – I would love to play Covington would be a play I'd probably go heavy on if Cat was out against Portland.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, Damian Lillard, McCollum, me and you have been playing them a lot recently, and they finally started to give us these turnarounds, the performances. Mm-hmm. And now Melo's not there to take away shots. I just in the late night hammer action, probably going to be lower owned than it should be just because it's late. People don't want to wait.
How about Hassan?
I like Hassan. The only problem is I love Drummond so much that he's going to take up a lot of slots, and I want to get a little bit of Embiid, of course. Actually, adjusting our projections. Guys a little at their minutes a little bit lower. Raising them.
And then who would you run those stacks back with from Minnesota?
Well, if that's the issue. If Cat's in, I'm like a little torn. Like if Cat was healthy, I would honestly like Cat in this spot. I don't think Whiteside can guard him really. But knowing that he's banged up, and I think if he were to play, that would screw me up. Like it'd be hard because Wiggins, the usage, he's still going to take away usage from Wiggins. Teague, you don't even know what he's doing coming off the bench, starting. What are you doing? Napier, I like regardless, though, right? Like, I'm hoping they start him again, but we won't know. If he doesn't start, then he just becomes. Then you have no idea what's really going to happen there, right? Like, is there somebody like Culver? Was Culver even out in that last game, or any of those guys?
Culver missed a game like 3 games ago, but he's definitely like, the loser in the Shabazz like healthy, passing him kind of situation. He was starting. He came back. They kept him in the starting lineup. Then he missed a game, and like Shabazz played all right, and now he's like not even getting many minutes, Culver. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think Shabazz is like cheap enough that even if he doesn't start, he's an option. But you know, I think he will start.
Yeah.
He played well. They started him yesterday. It was his first game starting. He played well. Like, why wouldn't they start
Let's
again?
talk about this real quick. A little unrelated topic. If we get news, we'll get back on focus unless somebody has another question. But here we go. So MG, shout out to MG's going to the Knicks game. Having fun. Let's go. Hopefully Giannis does play. You get to watch him. We got here. So you would rather have Harden than Giannis? No one would pick Harden over Giannis, and he's younger too. MG agrees. Nah, I'd rather have Giannis. Y'all bugging. Explain the Harden over Giannis, Paulie.
Like I believe in shooting wins championships, and like in the crunch time of games, like Harden is just unbelievable at shooting, scoring, getting to the foul line, and like he's a much better player than people think. Like his passing, his defense, he gets steals, blocks, like he's fucking good. And people like knock him because he takes a lot of shots, but he's ridiculous. And Giannis, I think, is a nice talent, but as soon as that athleticism runs out, it all comes to an end, and like he can't shoot. Right, guys that can shoot kind of like be good their entire career, but it's close. I mean, I do like Giannis a ton. I would not want him, but I'd prefer Durant over Giannis. Like I want more shooting capability instead of the athleticism.
Boom. Dollar bills. Dollar bills. Oh boy. Morris. Looking for you, Morris. 36 though.
Oh, by the way, the Bills ran a tackle eligible for a touchdown earlier to tie the game. It was amazing.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Touchdown to number 77. Big boy.
Big boy, Dirty Burgers. How much Scal you looking to play?
I mean, probably like 30%, maybe a little more. I just don't see how he really kills you today.
Yeah. Let's look at that situation real quick. Let's look at that boy Scout Mania. Scout Mania. How many minutes did Whiteside play last game? Let's look.
Yesterday? Yeah. I would guess like 32.
Sounds about right. 33, yeah. Yeah.
What did Melo play?
Well, Melo played 9.
Okay. And what did Scout play?
Scout played like 20-something.
Okay.
But I don't think you could just directly assume that, like, here's what we got to look. Did Scout play with Whiteside? Oh, real quick, we just got some news. Jonas Valanciunas has just been ruled out.
Ooh. Fuck, man.
Jonas.
Like, obviously Jaren Jackson, but the dude that I really like is 5'8". That's
Brandon Clark, right? Yeah.
Brandon Clark, you got to play him, though.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit.
Agreed.
In that spot.
I'm surprised he wasn't already. Come on,
How much was Scout playing already?
Hold on a second. Scal was getting like 14, 13. He had a couple games of 23, a couple games of 21. 16. It seems situational, and that's really my point. Is like his main purpose is going to be to back up Whiteside. So Whiteside's not typically going to get any more than like 35 minutes. It's like a max point for him. So there are minutes there for him. There are. And with Carmelo Anthony not there, do you think...
I mean, Melo missed a whole game and he went to 24. Like, yeah, it's a back-to-back maybe, but they all like, and they only have Tolliver and Zonia as like true. Oh, I guess Little too. There's more competition.
Right. Yeah, I was just gonna. That's actually what I was.
I think Scal He's a huge point per minute guy. There's a likelihood he plays more minutes than he normally does. He's min price against a team that doesn't have many bigs besides Gorgie Dang.
Look,
Oliver's on Minnesota, by the way.
he projects well. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. He projects well for me also as a high point per dollar guy. But if you actually go look at his game logs, like he's had a lot of games where that point per minute just wasn't there. Now I think that's what I think is going to be different, because I think when he's on the court, there's one less usage guy on with him. Like if he's playing with Melo on the court, then Melo's taking all those shots, not Skal. If Skal gets the ball, he's dumping it off to Melo and he's not shooting again. But if there's one less guy out there, if he's playing with only CJ McCollum instead of CJ McCollum and Carmelo Anthony, then maybe he's more likely to take one of those shots in a pretty good matchup. Brandon Clark will remain off the bench. What we got? Let's talk about the Joval deal.
Okay. So it's pretty simple.
Brandon Clark, obviously. Jaren Jackson gets a boost. Are you worried about foul trouble with Jaren Jackson?
Jay Crowder becomes more interesting. That guy was playing really well. Then he got like a minor injury, missed a game or two, but he's back. His rebound upside goes way up. Brandon Clark, was already kind of getting good minutes, and he had one kind of dud game yesterday. Actually, he didn't play many minutes, so you got to get some of him. Jaren Jackson, you got to increase exposure on. He's just been playing awesome in Sacramento. Foul trouble's not as big of a risk. And then, do we look at a Bruno or do we look at like Kyle Anderson? I don't know if we need to go that deep.
Well, one guy is like also for tournament purposes probably Ja Morant, right? Giannis just got ruled in, by the way. Giannis is available to play. Wesley Matthews officially ruled out. Populated. In that Milwaukee situation, what's his name? DiVincenzo is probably pretty interesting. I know his price is up, but they were playing him with George Hill at times in the last game. And so my point being, it's possible that we see more of that too. It's possible they elect to have, because he's honestly like he's one of their better players, DiVincenzo, as far as like making a difference.
I like his rebounding.
Right, he's aggressive.
And he's a good 3-point shooter. He just hasn't shot well yet. So I think there's more like meat on the bone with him. Wish he was cheaper though.
Here, let's close. See if there's any other questions. Yeah. Oh, Christian has a question. Who's Skal? Skal Labissiere for the backup center for Portland at the moment. Whiteside's backup. That is who Skal is. Jaren Jackson Jr. or Clark? Who gets the bigger bump with Joval out?
I can actually.
Cash plays for Rocksteady. Got you, Rock. Sorry about that, Paulie. What'd you say?
So I can get you factual answers on that. Give me 2 seconds. But, I mean, in my opinion, it's Jaren Jackson. Like, he's just shown us major ceilings. He's going to get more minutes. And it's just, like, more probable that Jaren Jackson goes for 40 or 50 than Clark. But Clark has done that at times in the summer league and whatnot. But that's when he was the best guy on the floor. Not like second or third. But Jackson can get in foul trouble. We do know that. And that would open the door for him.
Yeah, and of course, like the main issue with Clark, I do like Clark. I'm not trying to defer anybody from playing him. The main issue with Clark, though, is the minutes limitation. He ain't going to play more than, 26, 28 max, maybe, if they were desperate.
I mean, that's plenty for him to do.
Right, but in comparison to Jaren Jackson, if you're asking me, if Jaren Jackson says out of foul trouble, he could actually play 35 minutes today.
All right, here we go. On the season when Joval's off.
Here we go. We gotta go. Oh, yeah, go ahead and answer that question. Yeah, Rocksteady, I'll answer your question in a second, bro. I got you.
Jaren Jackson has a 1.15 point per minute, 30% usage. Brandon Clark has a 1.19 with a 22% usage. Jay Crowder has a 0.81 point per minute. John Morant 1.28, and Jaren Jackson's getting like a 3.4% increase. Clark a 1.9, Morant 2.3. It's not major. It's just kind of points to play some Jackson and Clark because one of them should do well.
Agreed. Rocksteady wants to know who the cash game plays are for DraftKings.
Okay. Drummond, I think, is like the first guy you put in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's pretty much all of Detroit. Well, at least three guys. Markieff Morris is arguable, but the other three in cash: Bruce Brown, Kennard, and Drummond. That's right. That's where I would start in cash.
Would you play Giannis now that he's ruled in against the Knicks at 11-7?
I think I don't know. I feel like if I could play a stud, I think I don't know. I know he's more expensive, but I'd rather find a way to get Harden because Giannis, they're playing tomorrow.
Oh, it's the same price. I think Harden's a tad
Then I
cheaper.
definitely prefer Harden.
I think Harden's 100 cheaper on DraftKings.
If that's either way, I would prefer Harden. It is Giannis. There's just they're conservative with him already. The Knicks are one of the worst teams in the NBA. They have a game tomorrow against a better team.
Yeah.
I just
Nervous about Giannis too. Yeah, Harden's 100 cheaper. Sevens, lifestyles.
Jobs and hobbies.
I mean, one ownership site I'm looking at has Aaron Baines as the second highest player on the slate. Has some of that Phoenix news kind of trickled out? I don't think so.
Not really good enough.
And they have the Newell House. Like, they really haven't adjusted to Detroit, really. They got Kennard at 15. Brown at I haven't even found them yet.
And that's probably part of the reason that MG and some of these guys like Connaughton more too is the blowout factor, Extra minutes plus the blowout. I get it.
I'd be getting sprinkles of the guards of Washington, the second unit guys, but there's just a couple people there. There's DiVincenzo, who closed and did really well at the end of that. They were getting blown out by Dallas, right? And DiVincenzo, George Hill, Ilyasova, and Kyle Korver kind of shot them back into that game.
Right.
Right. And they, so we don't know. Sterling Brown's there, Kyle Korver, Pat Connaughton, but man, Pat Connaughton seems to have fallen behind all those guys, in my opinion.
Yeah. Got the Wizards starting lineup as expected: Thomas, Beal, Bonga, Bertans, and Mahinmi. Okay,
so what's your highest exposed Washington Wizard?
I think Beal.
And at what?
20? 20%. The Wizards side, I'm not too thrilled with because their prices are pretty much all caught up to, what you would consider to be a good night. Ooh, John Brown with a long touchdown. Bogdanovich just got ruled out.
Yes.
Bogdanovich just got ruled out. The Bills are winning 17-13. How about that? 53-yard bomb.
That's awesome.
Hitting him up.
And he's on my bench.
Sweet. Good place for him.
Right.
Gotta love it. Check it out.
They don't have no value plays. Look at another ownership system. Tell me what the value plays they're projecting.
Looks like Kennard, House, Bruce Brown. I see Markieff in places up here.
No Aaron Baines?
Not near the top, no.
Okay. What about Pat Connaughton and Milwaukee Bucks kind of guys?
Let's see them either.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, for a 7-game slate, my player pool is pretty wide. I have a lot of guys. I'm having a hard time like deciding who to play heavy and who not. I mean, I think Russ, Ben Simmons, and the Pistons guys are going to be like my most popular, and then probably like Scal and Shabazz Napier for value. Waiting to pull the trigger on Lonnie Walker. Just give me the fucking news that Rudy Gay's out. And Lonnie Walker will become my highest owned player.
Yeah, I'm definitely anxious to hear that one. For sure. DeRozan. How we doing this? How you living, Biggie Smalls? How much Kawhi you playing?
I don't know yet. I'm still doing that, but probably like in the 20s. Julian Edelman to the locker room.
Ruh-roh, George. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Philly because like they are in a really good spot, all the Philly.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do? 732. How you living? Biggie Smalls will tell you. I do actually have 20% Connaughton as now. I didn't realize that. How about that?
Yeah.
Just snuck up in there. Like somewhere. Who do you like more, Dame or McCollum?
Dame.
Dame Dollar. Wanna be a baller. Oh, I gotta update Phoenix's projections. Gotta update some minutes here real quick. I forgot to adjust. Oh, all the news we got is the Rubio, by the way. It's the only one we know. Do you know if Kaminsky actually got hurt in the game?
Don't. Yeah, if Sark and Kaminsky were to get ruled out, then Diallo would become a really good mid-price value play.
Remove. Always wheeling and dealing.
What did you just
I
say?
said I'm always wheeling and dealing, you know. Boom. If Rubio misses, do you like Mikal Bridges? Rubio's already been ruled out, I believe. Do you like Mikal Bridges or someone else if Rubio's out? Is the question. Rubio is out.
I'm all right with Mikal Bridges, but Booker being back is no bueno. I like Oubre, and then maybe a sprinkle of Kobo. I'm really more interested in Saric and Kaminsky's status.
Zach LaVine will start. Luke Kennard will start. As expected. Sixers will start Simmons, Richardson, Harris, Horford, and Embiid. Wendell Carter Jr. will start. They just make everybody questionable because that's just what they do. Pistons will start Brown, Kennard, Snell, Morris, Drummond. And the Bulls will start Satoransky, Dunn, Levine, Markin, and Wendell Carter Jr. Nothing out of the ordinary there.
Wait. Say the Pistons one again.
Brown, Kennard, Snell, Morris, Drummond.
Okay.
How much Uber are you looking at right now?
25.
Yeah, I'm somewhere.
I like him.
I do like him. Rudy Gay news is pretty damn important. You know what I mean? Like, all news is important, but pretty damn important.
Like Marvin Bagley.
A little bit, but I just can't stand that they're still babying him. I get it. They finally didn't baby him. He got hurt right away, so I get it why they're doing it. But fantasy player, I despise that shit. But without Joe Val, Memphis is going to be a lot worse against the bigs. I can tell you that.
For sure.
For show. Dirty Durkin. We got about 15 minutes or so to lock? 15 minutes or so, baby?
Yeah, 15. 15.
30s. Bum, 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 bum. NBA love.
All right, we got our crunches rolling. Let's see.
Lean with it, rock with it.
Do the dirty.
Lean with it, then rock with it. That's what they say. Sweet.
We're in the zone right
We're
now.
in the zone hard, man. This is that hard stuff right here, man. We talk about being long and hard. This is it. That zone.
What you working with? Who's going up the charts in ownership for you?
I mean, I'm
What's
just,
happening?
moving things around, man. Still sorting out this Memphis situation, adjusting here, adjusting there, realizing how important that later news is, especially with guys like Covington and some of these other guys that we want to have exposure to. Like, there's a lot going on in this dome. That's all I'm saying. Dome life. You know who I do like from Philly is actually Al Horford.
Yeah.
And like power forward, Bertans, come on, man.
You think that game will be close?
Not really, but that's kind of why I like Horford, because he's cheaper and he could do it in less minutes.
Yeah, I feel like if that game gets out of hand, he's the first one that they like veteran, don't play a ton of minutes, like give him that treatment.
That's true. Yes, that's definitely. The Rudy Gay news is pretty huge though, because if he does play, I like him. You know, like it's that simple.
But what else do you like too on San Antonio if Gay's out?
I like Aldridge more. I like Rose more. With DeRozan more, and of course, mainly your boy Lonnie Walker. I mean, that's huge value from a player that has solid upside. Pretty huge, bro.
Yeah.
Pretty huge. About 11 minutes to lock here. Elfrid Payton starting. Elf Payton.
Oh.
Elf, Barrett, Morris, Randall, Gibson. So Elf is getting a start today, man. Little boosty for him, huh?
Fuck yeah, he's 4-7. I'm playing the shit out of him.
And he's gonna see who now? Like he's gonna see. Oh, I like that, man. I'm rocking. I'm gonna grab me some of that. Nation, if you're subscribed, I'm about to raise the minute projection for Elf, being that he's starting. Oh yeah, I can easily. We had him at 21. I'm gonna raise him to about 25, or let's say a 24.5 to be conservative. Why not? He should still project well.
Minute?
Yeah.
What was Nitty playing when he had the role?
He's the worst guy to look for by last name, Frank Nitty. Nitty was, man, his minutes have been down 16, 18, 24.
Yeah, that's since out, but before that, go like 8 games ago. Like, what was his minutes like back then?
I don't think he was really playing 30 much. Oh, well, when everybody was out, he was playing a lot. When they had no choice, but since the guys came back, he wasn't playing like 20-ish or so. You know how they're still gonna committee it up, it seems like, but right now it definitely seems like Elf is winning that battle. Like, come on, like.
Okay, but do you think DSJ is a good value play too? Like Nitty gets total demotion, or Nitty's the number 2?
I think that's the whole problem. Is that's what makes the situation complicated with the Knicks, because I don't think they have a true defined number 2. I think Elf is the starter for this game. It doesn't mean Elf is a starter going forward. You know what I mean? That's how the Knicks are. Like, DSJ's been getting like 15 minutes. They're really rotating all 3. I think Elf starting makes, as long as he plays well. Oh, Rudy Gay will play, by the way. Rudy Gay will play. We did get that news. But going back to Elf, as long as Elf plays well, by being listed as a starter, that leads me to believe he's most likely to close, as long as he doesn't suck. You know, like now it's on him. He sucks. Realistically, fuck him. You know what I'm saying? Horde.
Do you think the Knicks can keep that game close?
I think it's very unlikely, but anything is possible, like Kevin Durant. You know what I mean?
Do.
Anything is possible. I mean, it was like, I'm sorry, I can't get over it, but that was one of the most uncomfortable moments in sports for me. Like, when he did that, I was like, wow, he's really a cheeseball. I couldn't even help myself. That was my first. I get really awkward when around corny shit. When people get corny, I get real weird. Like, I don't know, I get a little uncomfortable. And that was like, he won the championship. I'm like, wow, he finally did it. I'm like feeling the moment. I'm more into feel. Like, don't say anything. When you say something, you ruin the moment. You know what I mean? And when he, like, and I was already thinking, like, wow, man, I can't believe he did it and all this. Well, what a moment for Boston and him. And Then he said it, and I was like, "What a douche!" I was just like, he just. Now I feel bad. I feel weird about being happy for him now because he just made it all weird with the crying. Everything's possible. I was just like, that's kind of weird. But I've been told that I'm a pessimist at times, so. I've been told that. Just thought I'd share that with you. Elf Payton or Jeff Teague? Right now it's Elf, but if we get the news, it's a little different discussion. But the prices are different on those guys, right?
Yeah.
Mario outstart Bazemore. I'll say this: Bazemore is slated to get a lot of minutes today because if depending on Clark, or Trent, but he is slated for a lot of minutes. What he does with those minutes, I don't know. Somebody said Mario out. I didn't know Mario was out. Did you see any? I didn't think I saw anything about Mario being out.
Yeah, I didn't see
I don't
that.
know if he is out.
Let me know.
I'll double check that real quick. We have 6 minutes to lock, but I'll double check it. Kennard or Morris? Kennard. I'm assuming you're talking about Markieff Morris. Did that very quickly without. Yes.
Fourth quarter, Buffalo with the lead.
Oh man,
like
the
it.
Billy Bill
Take it.
Billingtons. Look at the Billy Bill Bills. Billy B Labs. Billy Bob Swackles. Michelle's got 81 yards. Let's go, man. Need that 100-yard bonus today. Not yesterday, but today.
Who's got 81 yards?
Michelle. Michelle. Sonny Michelle. What is your highest exposure as of right now?
I'll tell you 1 second. Did I do something wrong? Burkhead almost got in there. Come on. What the fuck are you talking about? My bad. When you got multiple sports on the day, it trips you up a little bit.
Oh yeah, the process gets a little skewed, no doubt.
I was trying to upload my NFL CSV, and it's like, Rook got the wrong slate.
You're like, nah.
It's like,
Tell me that, bitch.
All right, so Drummond's my highest, then Ben Simmons, then Elf, then Scal, then Bruce Brown, Randall, Shabazz, Oubre, Kennard, Jaren Jackson, Harden, Covington. Where is Russ? Oh, there's Russ. So Drummond, Simmons, Elf, Scal, Bruce Brown. Those are my top 5.
30 burgers. What can I say? How do you do it? I don't know.
The Patriots are down on the fucking goal line.
And it's on to the final crunches. Off to the races here. Let's go.
Alpha has really good history against
Yeah, he
Milwaukee.
does. Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
Do it for me, Alf. You think Alpha will be popular?
I don't think so. No, I think Bruce Brown's gonna, take a lot of that ownership for you, and I don't think he'll be that popular.
Good. Man, I'm still seeing Aaron Baines as a second highest value play on this, second highest play on the slate on some sites.
DK, this sounds strange, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like they took the day off.
Does it seem like
Strange, you know?
That's what it looked like to me.
Who are your top 5 guys? Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown, Luke Kennard, Drummond are my top 3. And then I got McCollum, Lillard. I gotta check. I just had a mini panic attack. Thought I was gonna get a crunch in. Oof. What's the first games anyway?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me check. Bulls, Pistons, 76ers, Wizards, then Knicks start at 7:30. Kings, Grizzlies at 8. Clippers, Spurs 8:30. Rockets, Suns at 9. Timberwolves at 10.
Sweet. So the game that I have the most exposure to is first. Love when that happens. Love it. You guys know how much I love that. And it's lock. Here we are. We're here. Have no fear. That's going to do it, nation. We're going to get up out of here. Appreciate you guys rocking with us on a Saturday night. We will be back on Monday. Lopez, Dieng, or Baines. It depends on the injury news. I got a punch of Detroit. Paulie, anything in closing before we get up out of here?
No, good luck. Happy holidays. See you Monday.
For Paulie D, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.